Good morning, everyone. This is Madhuri Govindu, and you are here with Kirk Poe, and this is Soulful Conversations with Madhuri Govindu. I have got another very special guest today with a special episode. So, hello to everyone from Houston, Texas, here, and I want to introduce Kirk to begin with. Kirk is the founder of Not This Day, an organization that is dedicated to suicide prevention and emotional healing through energy based methods. So, Kirk will tell us more about him, but I want to share that after retiring from a traditional career close to 7 years ago, maybe longer, Kirk did feel a strong calling to help others, and is an inspiration rooted in his personal experiences, including his father's untreated PTSD after the World War II and the terminal illness of his close friend John Wagner, with whom he co founded this organization. He is a certified emotion code practitioner trained in Reiki and meditation, and Kirk focuses on uncovering and releasing trapped emotions that can lead to emotional and physical distress. He does offer his sessions remotely in person from his home in Salida, Colorado, and he aims to provide non pharmaceutical support and lasting emotional relief. He works with a very important growing client base, which is open to veterans across the United States. And about 24 sessions per week, and does offer a lot of support to veterans and first responders. I'm here to unfold his journey. I have a lot of questions, and I am sure all the viewers have a lot of questions about emotion code. So, Kirk, welcome. I've just touched the, just scratched the surface right now, but there's so much to know more about your journey. Welcome to Soulful Conversations with Madhuri.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. To begin with, we all want to know this journey, right, Kirk? If you want to tell me about you and your journey so far, and what was that moment that you realized suicide among veterans has to be addressed, and I want to start an organization to just do that, right? Just help us with a bit more about your journey.
Okay. Well, I retired about 9 years ago, and first of all, I am not a veteran. I did not serve. I was spent 40 years just in the business world, finance. And after I retired, I knew I had a calling of some sort. I didn't know what it was. My friend John Wagner had was diagnosed with a terminal illness, something that would just slowly shut down his body and take his life over a period of years. And so I just spent time with him, and every time I would leave him, I would say, I wish there was more I could do. And but I had no idea other than just be there with him and spend time with him. And one day, just a book came up on one of my social media, and I went straight past it. And a little voice that I've never experienced before, just said, "Go back and look at this book." And I just ignored that, and it just kept saying, "Go back and look at that book." So I went back, and it was a book on meditation, and I just kind of dismissed it. And the voice got louder and louder and said, "Go back and look at that book." So I looked at the book, and they let you download the first 10 pages or something. And in the introduction part, they had quotes from different people, and one was from Michael J. Fox, and said that this meditation was the only thing that helped him with his Parkinson's and his shaking. And my friend, his disease is related to Parkinson's. And I said, okay, that's interesting coincidence. Turned out not to be a coincidence. But I ordered the book and read it, and talked to my friend, and I said, "Hey, this is going to sound crazy. Will you take a meditation class with me? It may help you." And I expected him to say no. And he said, "Sure." And so he and I took a meditation class together. And I was sitting there thinking, we're the last two people on the planet that would ever enroll in a meditation class. And that's where it started, by listening to that little voice that was guiding me. So that's how the journey got started. Later, a friend of mine did energy healing on horses, on animals, and I thought she was nuts when she explained it to me. I said, "That's the craziest thing I've ever heard of." And so after a while, it said, "No, there may be something to this." And so I learned through an animal communicator about Reiki, and I'd never even heard of Reiki before. But I asked this person, "Will this help my friend?" And she said, Absolutely, it will." And so I inquired about the cost, and it was pretty cost prohibitive. But she said, for the cost of one paid session, you paying somebody else, you can learn to do it yourself. And I said, "Well, gee, Mr. Big Shot Kirk, you said you would do anything to help your friend. Now's the time." So yeah, so I enrolled in the class. My wife enrolled with me, and it uh, didn't save his life, but what it did is help him deal with the anxiety and the depression of knowing that you're going to die and knowing that you're going to leave a family behind, and just being able to deal with that.
Mm.
After I learned Reiki, and my friend was nearing death, I just said, I've learned these tools, I've learned these techniques. How else can I use them? I followed Charlie Daniels, the late entertainer, for years on Twitter, and he was a great patriot. And every day he posted six posts, and one of them was always the same. It was 22 veterans die from suicide every day. And so every morning I had coffee and I looked at Twitter, and I saw Charlie's post. And for years, for almost a decade, I would say, I saw the same post, and it was just a constant reminder. So there was one point where I had finished Reiki 1, which is in person. I must be with you. And level 2 is distance, meaning you can be in Texas, I can be in Colorado, and I can work with you. And I just kind of said to myself, why in the world would I want to do that? Work with somebody from afar. And then his post came up, 22 veterans die from suicide every day. And I go, maybe that's why I'd want to be able to do this at a distance, so I can meet people where they are, as opposed to being geographically limited. So I took Reiki 2, and then started inquiring about, is this my calling, helping veterans with suicide prevention? Uh, I Googled it, and there wasn't much out there, but one of them was a veteran couple,
Mm.
Will Brown and Allison Brown, and they are both Reiki masters, work with veterans, and they introduced Reiki to the VA, and got the VA to allow them and their team to go into the VA and work with a variety of pain and suicide ideation, and just a wide variety. So I called them. They were very, very encouraging. I found another guy that lived nearby, a Reiki master, not a veteran, but he did volunteer work with veterans about once a month, and I went and visited him, and he was very encouraging. So I said, "Yep, this is where I'm going to go."
So blissful to hear you, Kirk. I had such deep gratitude that you heard that voice, you didn't shut it down, you followed where it took you. You met these people, you got your Reiki and emotion code. You invested in that for such a noble cause. It always tears me up because I have worked with hundreds of veterans personally. People who have lost either their friends or somebody in the family, and being a Reiki master and meditation coach myself, using those in those sessions, I have the same experiences just like you, right? Immensely helps them to regulate their emotions. So I'm so blessed and have such deep gratitude for you right now that you follow that voice, because this is important and this is urgent, absolutely urgent. So, I was talking to Derek in one of our conversations, and Derek told me that suicide, Madhuri, is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And Kirk is doing beautiful work in that area to not at least reduce those numbers. So, thank you for sharing your journey so far. I do want to know more about emotion code. So, for our viewers, and there could be a lot of veterans who are listening to this right now, if you can just tell us a bit about your approach, what is emotion code, or just a general view of Reiki? How does a typical session look like for you? Just help us understand a little bit so that veterans can reach out to you and understand what your work.
Yeah. So I'm going to just start off with a couple quotes that are indirectly, I think, related to the emotion code. One goes back a while back, Sigmund Freud, and
Yes.
he said, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. And I just think that is so profound. And that's exactly what happens when we're not able to express our emotions. We call it repressing our emotion, burying them alive. And yes, when we do that, they come back because they're buried alive, and they come back and uh, hurt us, harm us in ugly ways. There's another quote from a Woody Allen movie that I just connected with. And he said, in this movie, he said, I don't get angry, I grow tumors. And I said, oh my goodness. So there is, and even though it was a fictional movie, there's an example of what happens when people repress their anger, for example. And we're taught as a society, don't get mad, and so we bury our anger inside of us. And I truly believe that when we repress our emotions, that it does create things like a tumor and just all kinds of physical ailments from repressing our anger. So when I explain this to first timers, I'll say, one of the expressions from more modern times is don't worry, be happy. I tell them that's the worst advice in the world. And the reason why is we tell ourselves, don't worry, then the emotion of worry, that vibration, that frequency gets trapped inside of us, and all of a sudden we have worry trapped inside of us because we told ourselves don't worry, and that causes more worry because we're always vibrating with that frequency of worry inside of us. So I say, instead of worrying, just acknowledge, hey, I'm worried,
Mm.
and explore it from a point of curiosity and say, isn't that interesting? I love that starting off. Isn't that interesting? And let's explore that. And you're just saying this to yourself. You can say it to somebody else and say, why am I worried? And is there something I can do about it? Is it real or is it an illusion? And then that keeps that worry from being trapped inside of us. But we've had a lifetime of being taught how to repress our emotions. And I'm going to say, being a veteran, they are taught to repress the emotions. Don't show your emotions. And I believe that veterans are professional emotion repressors. They become, almost stoic in that they, yeah, don't show your emotions, and I think that hurts them emotionally and physically. So what the emotion code does is it helps us to identify the emotions that are trapped within us, helps us release them gently one at a time. And then the next level above emotion code is the body code, and it helps us to figure out uh, how these trapped emotions are affecting us physically.
Hmm. Brought such absolutely insightful points out there on how unacknowledged emotions can get trapped and create bigger problems in your mind and body. So, just a general advice for everyone is if something is coming up, don't repress it. Acknowledge it, write it down, try and work with it, but not just shoo it away and shut it down because that's going to grow in your body then. So, yeah, thank you for that insightful comment right there. And want to tell me about the difference between emotion code and Reiki a little
Sure.
bit? Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of similarities, a few differences, and they're not mutually exclusive. So I think I use them together, sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously, but they work very well together. But um, Reiki, the key in Reiki is a Japanese word for life force energy. So it's the energy that makes us alive, so it's the energy of life. The Chinese version of the word ki, ki, is chi, chi, and probably know that from Tai Chi
Yes.
or Qigong. So practices that have been around for thousands of years. And so it's the energy of life, and it surrounds us, it's within us. So Reiki just teaches us how to allow energy at the beginning to flow through our hands. And so once we are allow that life force energy that's all around us to flow through us and through our hands, then we can guide this energy to ourselves and to another person by just placing hands close to the body in different positions. And then that allows the person that we're working with to absorb this new fresh life energy within them. And so we're not forcing it on anybody, we're just allowing them to absorb and become refreshed. So this energy is intelligent. We don't need to guide it. We just need to make it available to people and allow them to absorb it. So with the emotion code and body code, it is similar, but instead of allowing life force energy to be absorbed by the person, what we're doing is allowing that negative energy that's within them to leave. And I'm not saying Reiki doesn't do that too,
Mhm.
but with the emotion code, we're consciously focusing on what it is that's within that does not belong, does not need to be there, and releasing them. So the biggest difference is with emotion code and body code versus Reiki is that we use a term called muscle testing,
Mhm.
uh, which the fancy name for it is applied kinesiology, and that went back, was discovered uh, back in the 1960s. I mean, people were aware of it, but in 1960, a chiropractor named Goodhart really was able to understand muscle testing, and people knew that muscles were strong and muscles were weak, and we're trying to figure out why. And what he figured out is that muscles will go weak as a way of the body trying to communicate to us. So
Mhm.
it's like a binary computer that has zeros and ones. The muscles have weak and strong, and he figured out that we can ask questions to the body and get yes or no responses in order to understand and listen to our bodies. It's just absolutely fascinating. So I'm gonna show you just an example of
Mhm.
how if you're skeptical about muscle testing and say, that's a bunch of
Mhm.
nonsense, Kirk. Here's a little test that if you're curious, you can do it. I'm going to step away a little bit,
Mhm.
but I take, and I don't do this all the time, it's just more of a demonstration, but I take a gallon of liquid of water, this is apple cider, and I hold it out. And then I want it to be heavy enough, this is about half a gallon, so that I can lift it up, but I gotta work a little bit to get it up over my head. So that's how I know I have the right amount of weight. And then I'll say something that I know to be true. My name is Kirk. My name is Kirk. My name is Kirk. And I'm able to lift it. Now I'm going to say something that I know to be false. My name is Bob. My name is Bob. My name is Bob. And that's about as high as I can get it. I can't lift it anymore.
Mm.
So that is something that you can do if you're curious and see if that works for you. And then you can do other things like today is Friday, today is Friday, and it'll lift right up. And you'll say, today is Saturday, and you'll get resistance. So that's the body telling you truth versus falsehood.
So
So
profound.
So chiropractors will do that. So I bet a lot of our listeners have been to a chiropractor, and maybe they'll have you hold your arm out and they'll take two fingers and press it on your wrist. And sometimes the arm will stay strong, sometimes the arm will go weak. And that's the chiropractor testing and asking the body, what does the body need? And the body will respond with strength or weakness. So with the emotion code, then that's the core part of it. We get really tired lifting a gallon of water or a barbell all the time. So there's gentle ways to do it, and one of many, and this can be learned by anybody. It's called the ring in the ring method. And just take your fingers and do a ring in the ring, and you ask a question. You say, "My name is Kirk," and it stays strong. And if I say my name is Bob, it'll break away.
Mm.
And then, so the emotion code is just asking. It's like doing this investigation. So
Mm.
then, if I'm working with you, I would say, "Do you have trapped emotions?" I would get a yes. And we have a list of about 60, and we want to find out which one it is. So these 60 are arranged in two columns, column A and column B, 30 in each column. I will look at this list. Your subconscious already knows about this list because it's connected with the wisdom of the universe. And I'll say, is the trapped emotion in column A? I'll get a no. Is it in column B? I'll get a yes. And there's 6 rows. I'll say, is it an even row? Nope. Is it an odd row? Yes. Is it one? It's 3. Okay, it's number 3. And then there's 5 on the chart. And I'll say, is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? And then I'll know exactly what is ready for you to be released right now. So we do them one at a time, very gently. And then the release is very much like Reiki in that we use our hand and we just swipe it over the top of our head. Intention is very, very powerful and very important. And we're just saying that let's say, for example, that I'm working with you and anger came up. Then we're just going to say we're releasing anger, releasing anger, releasing anger. And I'm swiping my head with the intention that what I'm doing to you will also be happening to you. But if I'm working with you, I would encourage you swipe along with me, releasing
Mm.
anger, releasing anger, releasing anger. That will double the potency. But really, what I want to do is I want people to say, "Gee, Kirk, what you do isn't that hard." I'm going to
Mm.
say, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, it's not that hard. And you can learn to do this too. And maybe it's not you that needs to learn how to do it. Maybe it's somebody that cares deeply about you, the veteran. Maybe your spouse has been asking that question. I wish there was something I can do. And maybe the spouse, uh, that the family member, the friend, will want to learn how to do emotion code to help the people that they love. So I will say it's you can learn it, and you just got to believe. And there's a $20 book, The Emotion Code, on Amazon. Dr. Bradley Nelson. You can learn it by reading the book. You can learn it by YouTube videos. And I tell people that if you do sessions with me, there's no way you can not learn it by just watching and experiencing. So it's not a gift. It's not something to be withheld. It's something to be shared and learned.
So profound and such practical examples that you have shown. And I felt like truth was resonating and oozing out as we were talking, because truth is so powerful and we are working with truth and releasing emotions. That was so profound. I will ensure the book link and your Calendly link, everything is presented to our audiences so that they can buy the book, reach out to you when needed. But this is so profound, Kirk. Really thankful that you took it up for all of us and helping us share it further. I also want to ask you, if a client comes to you, can they opt for emotion code and Reiki both? Is that a possibility, or do you spread it out like emotion code first and Reiki next, or how does that work?
Yeah, we can do both together because oftentimes, as I said, swiping the hand is just with Reiki. Most of the time, you hold your hand in place for up to 3 minutes. But there's nothing that says that the swiping it isn't as effective. It's just that the healing energy comes through to our hand. But yes, if somebody said, I'd like to do Reiki by itself, then that is most certainly an option.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for letting us know. And can you also tell me about what are some of the most common issues or emotional blocks you help people work through or veterans work through? What are some patterns that you've noticed with your work so far?
Yeah, the most common is, and this will come as no surprise to anybody, is post-traumatic stress. And that is, somewhat complicated in some regards because it manifests so many different ways. It can express itself differently with three people with multiple different ways. So what the emotion code really does is it says, I'm gonna not focus on this clinical diagnosis of post-traumatic stress, but what we're going to do is dig down into how it is expressing itself, how it is manifesting itself. And sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's emotional, but post-traumatic stress is probably the most common. Anxiety and depression are the most common, and those can be related to post-traumatic stress or unrelated. Pain is probably the next big one. So pain oftentimes is just the body saying, "Help me," and we don't know how to help it, so we go to the doctor and they numb the pain, but the body doesn't want the pain to be numbed. It wants it to be listened to help it heal. And so pain, again, is just a way to tell us to listen to the body. Uh, Next most common one is sleep. Uh, Inability to fall asleep, stay asleep, and yeah, get a full night's sleep, which then leads to fatigue, which leads to immune system, and all these things are related. So as most people know, we have that fight or flight response. If we're stuck in fight and flight, then we're not engaged in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. So that's one thing that comes up real frequently is if we can get you out of fight and flight response, then we can activate or reactivate your rest and digest. And so that there's an example of what I think that the emotion code, body code are really important to do. And the good news is that you don't need to understand, I don't need to understand, that through the muscle testing, we'll know what's ready to be released. So one thing I didn't mention with the emotion code is,
Mm.
where do the answers come from? So when I say, do you have any trapped emotions? Yes. And can we release it? Yes. Where are those answers coming from? I'm not providing those answers. I explained to veterans like the code talkers in World War II. So these were the indigenous Americans, and they spoke a language that others did not understand. And sometimes our body is like that. So I describe myself as being a code talker. I know how to ask the question, and then I know how to answer, how to interpret the answer, and then I share with you that this is the code talk. And but again, where does the answer come from? Some people say it comes from your own subconscious. So your subconscious is the hard drive of your life. It is records everything that ever happened, everything you've ever experienced, every sight, smell. Uh, and so all I'm doing is just like a Google search. I'm asking the question, and I'm getting the response back. But some people are more spiritual in nature, and uh, I believe that each of us has an aspect of ourself. I call it the inner healer. Some people call it the inner physician, but it's a part that every one of us has that knows exactly what's going on with us physically, emotionally, psychologically, and just it wants to be listened to. It wants us to be whole. It wants us to be complete. It wants to be listened to. And I believe that is where the answers come from, is each of us has that inner healer, and I connect with the inner healer. I ask questions, and it just says, thank you for listening. Here,
Mhm.
here is what my human needs right now. And it is uh, divinely guided, and that's the similarity between Reiki and with the emotion code, is it's divinely guided. We need to step aside, take our ego to the side, and just know we're not doing anything. We're just asking questions, we're hearing the answers, but it really is the soul aspect of us, and then the divine.
Yeah, yeah. Some call it the subconscious or the highest self. And as you said, there's a divine guidance. Kirk, do you think the voice that spoke to you and said, go back, don't shut it down, or go back to the book, or go back to the to what you were reading or the meditation, that was also the divine voice that was guiding way? Yes. So, as you said, energy cannot be destroyed. We work with energy, and we have to keep the I'm doing it, the ego aside, because you're not doing it. You're just the instrument that is being used right now to do this good work. And that's so important to remember that, right? Just
Yeah, and a recent example of this, and I'm not sharing this to pat myself on the back, but listen to that little voice. But there's a veteran that I've been working with for many years on anxiety, and then he just has this recurring respiratory. That a lot of people seem to have asthma, and so we've been working on it, and it gets better, then it gets worse. And I was just walking the other day, and that little voice said, "It's mold," and I said, what what's mold? And so I started thinking about it, and yeah, mold can cause anxiety, and mold can cause the respiratory. So I called my friend and I said, this may sound crazy, but check for mold. And so he called, and people look at his air conditioning system, and they said, oh my gosh, it is filled with mold. And
mm,
so we're hoping that's going to help with the anxiety and the depression. That we worked emotion code and body code to the end, and he was still having the challenges. But that little voice just said to me, check for mold.
mm. So listen to that voice, listen to that voice. There are enough such stories and evidences for us to safely conclude, listen to that voice. Thank you for reiterating that. I will talk about not this day a little bit. The fact that we are losing veterans to suicide in itself is um, an irony and also something that needs to be addressed immediately and every single day. What does not this day mean to you personally, Kirk? And what is a message that you have for veterans to not walk on that path and seek healing while they know that something is bothering them, right? So, what does not this day personally mean to you?
Yeah, so when I learned Reiki, Reiki has a group of core principles, and there's five of them, and it starts off with just for today. And this goes back anyway, it goes back a while, but anyway, I love the not this day because it allows us to focus on right now, just today, and not thinking about the rest of our lives, because that's where worry and anxiety come in, and depression comes in from the past. But just for today gets us into the present moment. So I like that part of Reiki. It says, just for today, I will not worry, I will not anger, I will be grateful, I will be kind, and I will work hard. So I love those guiding principles, but especially just for today. So I said, but maybe that's the key to suicide prevention is let's help get you through the day. Chris Christopherson has a song called "Help Me Make It Through the Night." And so it's just let's just focus on getting through the day. Let's focus on getting through the night. And so I liked not this day. And the longer message is we will all die someday, but it is not this day. Today we live. And
Mm,
so that's my website is notthisday.live. So it's just a, a focus on let's make it through the day. And what can I do right now to get you through the day? What can you do to get through the day? And no, let tomorrow come tomorrow, but let's just stay focused on right now. So that's where not this day comes from. Is again, we will all die someday, but it's not this day. Today we live.
also profound. That also applies to the principles of mindfulness and being in the moment and the power of now, right? This beautiful book by Eckhart Tolle that I had read about the power of now just reiterates what you have told us right now. Not today, just live in this moment, right? Out of your head in the day. So thank you for sharing that. Tell me about how do you measure success, Kerr, when you have a client and you have the work through emotion code and Reiki? What would be a measure of success for you? What do you witness and you say, okay, they have taken a leap in the healing process now?
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is just knowing that this healing work is subtle, and I have no expectations of somebody one session and saying I'm cured. And my expectation is not to cure anybody, but my expectation or success looks like I'm better today than I was yesterday. And sometimes these are really, really subtle. Uh, so, as an example, and I'll digress a little bit, but recently my wife and I just took a class on ear acupuncture,
Mhm.
and the VA has a very similar program to what I've been certified in called battlefield acupuncture.
Hmm.
And I saw an interview with a veteran, and he said, I went in for pain and he said they didn't eliminate my pain. He said, but it went from a 6 to a 4. And he said, I can live with a 4. And he said, I'm just grateful uh, to, to, to have it taken down a notch. And so that's what I mean by that subtlety is that we may not make your pain go away, but if we can take it from a 6 to a 5 or a 6 to 4, then that is something you can deal with. So with my own, I have tinnitus ringing in the ears that a lot of veterans have. and it used to be just annoying,
Mm.
uh, irritating, and I just was like, make it stop." And I have not made the ringing in my ears stop. But what I've done, and I shouldn't say I've done, what this healing has done is allowed it to go from being annoying to being like background white noise, where it's still there, but it's not annoying anymore. And it's just changed my mindset to, instead of being annoying, to looking at it as maybe being soothing. And you're going like, how the heck can ringing in your ears be soothing? But it changes your mindset about accepting it. So that is how I measure success. It's just a subtle improvement, and not making it go away sometimes, but just making it easier to deal with.
Mm. And that in itself is such a huge relief, right? Because even though you use the word subtle, the transformation is so profound. You've lived with that for so long, but today in this moment you feel, oh my God, I'm feeling better. It's not as heavy as I felt yesterday. And as you said, it's so profound, resonates with, as you said, not this day, right? So today I'm feeling slightly better than yesterday, and you continue to improve from there. That in itself is so powerful, so powerful. I also want to ask you, what's next for Not This Day? Do you plan to expand it further, take some people under your wing, train and certify them, or how can more people get trained or certified in this, right? Because you, there are so many veterans too who are on the wait list right now. So tell us a bit more about what's next for Not This Day.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a concrete business plan. I just believe in listening and allowing things to unfold. But to answer your question, uh, I would love to have people say, "Kirk, I want to know how to do this so that I can help the people that I love." And that can be veteran, it can be civilian, it can be uh, wanting to help children, wanting to help friends and family. And there are people that can make a career out of this. So, and you can do a mixture of uh, helping people in your family and then charging for it. So that's how I keep my not-for-profit funded. Is I have civilians that are willing to pay and happy to pay uh, a fee for the healing, and that covers the overhead. But I would love, love, love for people to say, "Help me, guide me so that I can do this myself." And I think that's how we expand it, getting more and more people doing it.
Yes.
And
You've already instigated a lot of vigor and hope in a lot of viewers right now. I'm your first student, Kirk. Like, I'm EMDR trained and trauma certified, a Reiki master, and I do mindfulness and meditation, but I'm not a practitioner of emotional code. So I'm your first student. I would love to reach out to you later and learn more about how to practice emotional code. So it's for all the viewers here. I'll include Kirk's details, and it's so important to learn this so that you can help your family, more veterans. And Kirk, thank you for offering to be a teacher, a guide for a lot of us listening to this right now. Yeah. Do you also see energy healing becoming more mainstream or integrated with other forms of mental health care?
absolutely. And so many exciting things that I think are happening right now. Uh, I mentioned earlier that the ear acupuncture,
Mm.
and I've heard of acupuncture, but never specifically the ear acupuncture. But it is 5 needles in each ear, and uh, you can get trained. I got trained. It's 3-day training, and it's a couple $100, and that helps with post-traumatic stress and pain and anxiety, depression. But where they first learned about this was addiction recovery. And so when I heard about this, I said, these are all the things that veterans suffer from: pain and addiction and trauma and anxiety and depression. And then I learned that not only can one learn how to do it in 3 days for a couple $100, but the VA has embraced it. And again, they call it battlefield acupuncture, and it's a walk-in clinic, and the veterans can the VAs that offer it is walk-in, and
Mm,
there's a group of chairs, and you sit in a circle with other veterans for 30, 45 minutes, and the needles go in your ear, and then you hang out with other veterans. And
mm,
I'm just I just salute VA for endorsing that, embracing it. As I told you, my friends, the Brownswell and Allison, got VA to embrace Reiki in the VA. I'm saying that uh, VA is endorsing holistic wellness treatment. Um, So just the whole medical community, I think the not to be political, but the Make America Healthy Again
mm,
program, I'm encouraged by that. Just letting people know that there are alternatives to prescription medication. And there's so much that we can do to get ourselves healthy, including what we eat. And it's just embracing maybe the wisdom of our forefathers,
mm,
that perhaps homeopathic remedies
mm,
and herbal remedies. Maybe our ancestors knew something, and maybe we should go back and revisit and get away from prescription medication that has so many side effects. And as an example, we prescribe depression medication, and one of the side effects is suicide ideation. And
mm,
it just makes my mind explode. Like, why do we do that?
mm,
So just awareness is a big thing, and then just a cultural shift to alternatives.
mm. I can attest to that because as a licensed professional counselor, I've also seen a lot of veterans and clients go for holistic healing, call it Reiki or energy healing or other forms of holistic healing, and it's helping them. It's an aided support to their journey with mental health healing. So I can definitely personally attest to what you have said. I think we've learned a lot about you, the journey so far, emotion code, Reiki, all the books that you have mentioned, the VA resources that you have mentioned, and this open offering for our viewers right now that they can also learn Reiki or emotion code by connecting with you. This is such rich information, Kirk, for the world to know. So I have deep gratitude for this moment, for this day that you could share all of this wisdom with us that you've carried for so long. And if I want to ask you this, just a parting message that you have either for veterans or civilians, what would that be? And I'm going to give you a bit of a context. With the chaos that is in the world, we also have to focus on peace and embracing peace amidst everything that's going on right now. So, one message that you have for all of us in general, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. So the veterans that I work with, and I don't know if this is from a particular branch or not, but there's a slogan or an expression: "Embrace the suck."
Mm,
And that's just no matter how hard it gets, I'm just going to keep moving forward. And it may be muddy, it may be cold, I may be broken or bloody or being shot at, but it's just the mindset of embrace the suck. And I think that is a block to seeking help. And there's also, I think, in the military, there's a subconscious mantra that says asking for help is a sign of weakness.
mm,
So I'm going to say, we need to do some mental reprogramming and release those beliefs and just say, asking for help is not a sign of weakness, and I don't need to embrace the suck anymore. And I give myself permission and I give myself the grace to seek help, knowing that it's not a weakness and that there is help and I deserve to be healed.
Mm. Yes, so ask for help. You deserve to be healed, and asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Thank you for reminding of that profound truth. Well, Kirk, what a beautiful morning and what a profound discussion with you. Thank you for being here and helping the viewers understand more about holistic healing and living in the moment. I think this was very important for all of us to know. And I would love to have you in our soulful conversations again and talk more about your work and the future plans. But thank you for today and thank you for being here with us.
Be well.
Thank you.